So the Eyes of Pennsylvania, like I said, is not a group. We're not looking to form a Tea Party group. What we're looking to do is activate all the Tea Party groups that are out there. We've met with various legislators in Berks County, in the outlying counties, and what they told us is we've got to get out there to other parts of other parts of the state. So that's what our intent is. So as I said, we threw this together as quick as we can. Hopefully, we'll make some sense of it for you. My particular topic is illegal immigration. And basically what I'm trying to do is make you aware of what you're losing in way of personal liberties, your tax dollars that are being wasted, and all the lies that are being told to you by politicians and other people out there. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe America was founded on a rule of law? Okay. Are you an American that's concerned with that you want to stop and reverse illegal immigration? Nobody? Okay. Well, I'm not here to tell you that I'm against immigration. I'm not. What I'm here to tell you is I want to give you some education on how we can curtail the flow of immigrants into our country. Let them come in here legally, through the front door, not the back door. To become a citizen, basically, there's only about 9 major steps that people have to follow to become a citizen. They're so slight, it's ridiculous, but these people still insist on coming through the back door, sneaking over borders. You have to be at least 18 years old. You have to be a resident in the United States for 5 continuous years. In other words, you can't come here for 2 years, take the money that you've made, run home, come back in another 2 years, go home again, come back for another year. You have to be 5 continuous years. They have to be documented. You have to be paying taxes during those 5 years. After those 5 years, you still have to be a person of good moral character. In other words, don't get arrested. You have to have the ability to read, speak, and write basic English, understand basic English, have a knowledge of fundamental rules of the United States, and to follow the Constitution of the United States. At the end of that time period, you should be able to know all the principles of the Constitution and swear allegiance to the United States. Illegal immigration. There are so many things that are happening today at the borders. People are just crossing the borders, they're coming across, they're being smuggled in. All these things we should be against 100%. Some of the things that are happening even in our own country, there are such things as sanctuary cities, which is just nonsense. They're violating the law. What are we doing about it? We yell, we scream, we don't say anything. Our politicians are violating the laws. They're violating our Constitution. That's what we're all about. That's what we're going to come back and tell you people, or explain to you people where they're violating the laws that we have right now, to get the politicians to do what they're supposed to be doing, not just sitting on their hands and just giving us a bunch of talk, which they usually do. Back in '86, they started with amnesty. That year, they granted amnesty to over 3 million people. In '94, they did it again, 578,000 people. In 1997, they granted over 1 million illegal aliens from Central America and Mexico. Just gave them carte blanche, you're welcome here. 1998, we granted amnesty to 125,000 Haitians. In 2000, over 400,000 more were just granted amnesty. Again, later in 2000, the Life Act amnesty granted 900,000 illegal amnesty. illegal aliens amnesty. That's over 6 million people that we've granted a carte blanche to come in and enjoy what we've been enjoying all of our life. They haven't done anything for it. They weren't born here, they didn't work here, they haven't supported anything that we've contributed to, but yet they were granted amnesty. The latest amnesty was granted by Obama. I'm going to call it a backdoor amnesty. He went around the Congress because he knew he couldn't get the DREAM Act passed. So he wrote an executive order. That man has become notorious for executive orders. He's the one that taught constitutional law, taught I don't know how many thousands of people about the Constitution. And what's he doing? He's just, I don't like that, I'll do it my way. We've got to put a stop to that sort of stuff. Mexico has been the biggest problem for the United States as far as people sneaking across the border. Right now, well, as of the 2004 census figure, we had 10.6 million people who were born in Mexico now reside in the United States. Undocumented, illegal aliens. I call them criminals. They have all these new words for them, but they're still criminals. Mexicans make up 1/3 of the foreign population in the United States. Pretty soon, we're going to be the minority. Over half of the Mexicans living in the United States are illegal aliens. The third largest group, believe it or not, are the Chinese people. A lot of them are smuggled in, human trafficking. They're still illegal aliens. They still come into this country. One thing I could give to them is, if you want to look at a plus side, those people work. They work hard for their money. They come here, they're educated. We have statistics that show that of all the immigrants that come into this country, they are the most educated group of people that come into this country. And I just don't mean low-level education. They're one of the tops in math, sciences. We're falling, well, as Americans, we're falling by the wayside. But we're supporting these people. California and New York, they have the largest populations of the Chinese. Also, they're starting to get into Washington State. Excuse me. Over 1 million immigrants lawfully enter this country every year. But the illegal population grows by 500,000 each year. So what's that tell us? You know, we're letting 1 million in legally, no matter where they're from, but still 500,000 of them are just sneaking across the borders one way or another. It's not just the Mexicans that I worry about, or the people from China that I worry about. They're from all over in China. The majority of them are coming from mainland China. All right? They're looking to get out from under the communist rule there. So they're paying, but they're not people that don't have money. They're paying tens of thousands of dollars to get here. Then the people that are smuggling them in are using them as human slaves to pay off the debt. So they may get here, if they get here alive, most of the times half of the cargo is, they call cargo, but they're people, half of them are dead. They're coming over in shipping containers. They're coming over on fishing boats. They're crammed into these quarters like sardines. Yet your heart goes out to them, but they're not getting here legally. They have the funds because these smugglers are charging them anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000. So they're coming up with that amount of money. They should be able to find a sponsor in the United States. I have a brother-in-law who came here illegally from Greece. He worked on a ship. He was a chef, a cook. He jumped ship in New York City. and stayed here. Well, eventually it caught up to him. It didn't cost me anything, but it cost my parents a bond on their house in order to keep him here. Now, he's sorry that he did it that way, but he had nothing. He had nobody. You know, he went around working, painting, doing different odd jobs just to live. Wound up meeting my sister. He was actually doing a job for us. We didn't know he was illegal. Back then, I'm talking like 35 years ago, back then you didn't think about it. You didn't think that anybody was really here illegally. But they caught him. He eventually did become a citizen. Now he's living down in Florida. He owns his own restaurant. And he's doing fine. He's been a great guy. Now, he came in the wrong way, but he turned out to be a good citizen. The people that bother me are the people that come in here and they look to take from us. They go on food stamps. They go on welfare. Over half of the Mexican population that is in the United States right now today is on welfare. Who's paying for that? Every one of us. Currently, and I can't give you an exact number because nobody has an exact number, but we have a range between 12 and 20 million illegal aliens are in this country right now. That's a lot of people. You take half of that population and saying we're supporting them. I mean, the way things are going now with the taxes, Charlie will get into the taxes on Obamacare, we hardly have money to take care of ourselves, let alone 20 million people or 10 million people. The negative impact is bankrupt hospitals. Hospitals are closing down. They can't afford it. That affects everybody, anybody that looks for insurance. Overcrowded schools. I have a sister-in-law that lives in New Jersey who's a school teacher. She's bilingual. Her main function was to teach a lesson plan in the morning in English. In the afternoon, she would teach that same lesson plan in Spanish. Why are we doing this? Why are we paying teachers, whatever we're paying them, I don't care whether it's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, wherever, we're paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year towards a salary, another 30% on top of that or 40% on top of that for benefits, $100,000 a year, so we can teach children how to speak English? It's just wrong. To go back to people that were on welfare, I was wrong before when I said 50%. 57% of the Mexicans are on welfare. Native-born Americans, people that really need the help, that's 10% of the people. Then there's another 13% that just take advantage of that. So you're looking at 23% versus 57% of people that are on welfare. Talk about border security. In 2011, this is the Government Accountability Office reported that we only had operational control of 44% of our border. Now, I don't know how many people watch the news. I'm sort of addicted to Fox News, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I watch that pretty much every night, every day. Well, I look at the war over in Afghanistan, right, wrong, or indifferent, but I look at the technology that we have. We have these drone attacks. We have drones that can go out and they can pinpoint us from thousands of miles up, and we can't secure our borders. I mean, to me, that's a little ridiculous. We're spending all that money over there, fine and dandy. I'm not one way or another on that war. I don't want to get into that tonight. But why aren't we spending the money to secure the borders? Actually, the Border Patrol, the Union for the Border Control, was suing the Obama administration because they were told not to arrest everybody, not to send people back. That's the law. We have the President of the United States who took an oath of office to uphold the law. Well,
Impeach him! Impeach him!
oh yeah, I'm not just blaming it all on Obama. It has been happening, and it's going to continue to happen unless groups like this and other groups throughout the state and throughout this country do something about it. In 2010, there was 25% to 30% of people that we would classify as Tea Party activists. In the past 2 years, that's down to 15%. What are we doing wrong? Are we just going to roll over? And that's what it seems like to me. That's why the group of us, we're not going to belong to any particular group, but we're here to talk to the groups. We support you 100%. We don't want to start a group. We're not going to defeat what Jim has been doing here, what the Berks County Patriots have been doing over there, what Schuylkill County has been doing, what Lehigh County has been doing. You've all been doing a great job. What we're here to do is to help you get better. This past year in the state, our illustrious state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there's a bunch of things that went through. There was 14 to 16 bills that were in various stages that were brought up on the House floor, brought up on the Senate floor. Only one of those bills really passed that had to do with illegal immigration. And all that did was, it was E-Verify. We had a stronger wording of it that made every employer get E-Verify. They toned it down like they always do. So it's now only unless that is for government contracts only. All right. We look at government contracts for the state. Yeah, that's a sizable amount of money. But how many other contracts are out there? How many other contractors are out there? They don't have to E-Verify. So, you know, it helps a little bit, but it's ridiculous. Some of the bills, I'll just give you some highlights of what's going on with them and what's happening. Police to determine legal status. Nothing's happening with that. Revoke business licenses. Nothing's happening with that. State and local workplace raids. You don't hear everybody raids anymore. I think there may have been one or two, and that was like 3 years ago. Didn't stop construction. You know, the Mexicans were back the next week. Anti-smuggling. That's great, but we don't have a whole lot of that right here. On the West Coast, on the East Coast, I mean the port cities, that's where it's going on. Anti-harboring. There are cities, there are towns within this state that do harbor illegal aliens. It's against the law, but they're still doing it. Why? Because our legislators aren't really enforcing it. They aren't letting the police do what they're supposed to do. Let's see, we talked about E-Verify. Right now, and this is a soft number, it's not a hard number. This number may have been good the latter part of 2010, early part of 2011. Currently, $1.4 billion is being spent in this state on illegal aliens. $221 million for Medicare and the Department of Public Welfare for child care programs. $50 million for health care costs. $33 million health care costs for anchor babies. $575 million to educate illegal alien children. $74 million, the cost that's associated with police, corrections, and the judicial expenses. This is money that's being paid in taxes to enforce our laws. We've got to stop it. It's just a matter of people like you, me, and all the rest of us to do something about it. Yes?
I don't understand if they know they're illegal immigrants, how do they get on these social programs like welfare?
All right.
Why are they just sent back? I don't get that.
That started under the Rundell administration, as far as the welfare. His edict came down, just sign them up. Don't verify. There are rules in place, there are laws in place. Excuse me. They are supposed to call everybody up that is on welfare at least once a year and verify that, number one, they're a citizen, where they live. And right now, there's a whole list of things that they have to comply by. But under the Rundell administration, he said, don't worry about it, just sign them up. That's how it was. Now, with Wagner, he had tried to put a stop to that. Now we have somebody else new in there. God knows how long it's going to take to get that person on board to do what they're supposed to be doing. If they eliminated, right now, I guess the last report from Jack Wagner was that he had about 10 to 25% of the people that are on welfare that shouldn't be. You equate that to dollars, that's about 1/3 of our state budget. Okay? So if they just follow the law, yeah, it'll cost us some money up front because we need people in the spots to verify this stuff, to check on stuff like this. But it's well worth it. The unions, they're getting backed into a corner. So their fight is not with illegal people. Their people, what they're trying to do is keep the people that they have. I mean, look at what happened out in Wisconsin. Michigan passed that right to work law. That'll be the next thing that we're going to probably try and push through in Pennsylvania. It's going to be an uphill battle, but eventually it should happen. So the unions, they're more concerned about the people that are in the unions right now. They don't want to see these laws take effect. They care about the illegal immigration. They care about the illegal aliens. Yeah, they want to get them on board. But that's not their problem right now. Their problem is the people that are out there right now that are in the unions, that are working for them, that are supporting their coffers. We've got to make the phone calls. We've got to talk to our legislators. Right. We've got to talk to them, not yell at them. We've got to talk to them. We're not going to support them 100% of the time. They're not going to support us 100% of the time. But we've got to work with them. If we show them we support them on certain issues, they're going to start supporting us. Jim mentioned Rich Shuker. Rich is a very close personal friend of mine, of Charlie's, of Paula's. We've been talking to the legislators. We don't agree with them 100% of the time. They don't agree with us 100% of the time. We never will. In this room, we couldn't get 100% vote on any one thing. There's always going to have somebody who's going to be against it. But what we got to do is work at the things that we can get done. If we can't get 100% done, let's take 75. Let's take 50. Get to 75, then get to 100. But we've got to start. That's what we're trying to do. That's why Rich and the group of us have started Eyes on Pennsylvania. We're going to attack not one issue, but several issues, but we're going to start at the lowest level and work our way up through. We're going to go talk to groups like you on whatever topics you want to hear. We do extensive research. I mean, this is just a small file that I have on illegal immigration. The file I have home is this thick. And anything that we tell you, and I'm being honest, it is resourced 100%. We give you only facts. We're not going to blow smoke and mirrors. We're not going to tell you our thoughts. We're going to tell you what's in here. This is where, there are 1,000 things out there in just wasteful spending in our government, both at the local level, state level, and national level. But as Jim said, we just can't attack full-blown at the national level because we'll get nowhere. But if we can start at the lower levels and work our way up through, that's what we have to do. Thank you for your time.